Princeton had made a terrible mistake. The Galactic Academy of Advanced Sciences floated in the neutral zone between 17 star systems, a gleaming monument to interspecies cooperation. Here, the galaxy's brightest minds gathered silicon-based crystallids from Theta Prime. The gaseous veil speakers, insectoid Qatari scholars, and dozens of other species. Each represented civilizations thousands of years old. And then there was Bralina. She sat alone in the quantum mechanics lecture hall, her primitive datapad laughably outdated by galactic standards resting on the desk before her. Princeton, a Qatari noble with iridescent carapace and for razor-sharp limbs, had noticed her the moment she'd arrived 3 cycles ago. A human. From Earth. A death world so hostile that most species required environmental suits just to survive its surface. How quaint, Princeton chittered to his companions, his translator rendering the words in standard galactic. The death worlder actually believes she belongs here. His friends a crystallid named Zex and a veil speaker called Whisper of Storms rippled with amusement. The other students pretended not to notice, but Princeton saw their sensory organs turn toward them. Bralina's jaw tightened, but she didn't look up. Princeton grew bolder. He scuttled closer to her desk, his claws clicking against the polished floor. Tell me, primitive, do they even have quantum theory on your world? Or are you still banging rocks together? This time, Bralina raised her eyes. They were brown, such a dull color compared to the multispectral vision of superior species. But there was something in them that made Princeton's antennae twitch. Not fear, not embarrassment. Calculation. We have quantum theory, she said quietly. We also have consequences. Princeton's companions burst into chittering laughter. The professor, an ancient triluminary with 3 enormous eyes, turned to glare at them, but said nothing. Everyone knew Princeton's family controlled 7 mining colonies. Disciplining him was complicated. Consequences? Princeton mocked. What's a soft-skinned death worlder going to do? Cry at me? Bralina stood. She was shorter than Princeton, fragile-looking, with none of the natural weapons his species possessed. The practical exam is in 2 days, she said. Survival scenario in the 0G combat simulator. So, Princeton clicked. So let's make it interesting. You and me. One-on-one scenario. When I win, you apologize to every Death World species student in this academy. The room went silent. Even the professor's eyes widened. Princeton's carapace flushed with chromatic patterns of amusement. A human challenging a Qatari in combat? Qatari were apex predators on their world, with reflexes 3 times faster than humans and natural armor that could deflect most energy weapons. And when you lose? He asked. Bralina's smile was small and cold. I'll transfer out. You'll never have to see a death worlder again. Princeton extended a claw. Accepted. 2 days later, the entire academy gathered around the combat simulator viewing screens. Word had spread through every dormitory, every laboratory, every communal space. Even professors abandoned their research to watch. Princeton entered the simulator first, his carapace gleaming under the artificial lights. The environment randomized this time. It was an asteroid field with 0 gravity and limited oxygen pockets. Perfect for a Qatari. His species had evolved in low-gravity environments. Bralina entered wearing a simple pressure suit. No weapons, those were against the rules. Each contestant had to rely on their natural abilities and whatever they could. Improvise from the environment. The countdown began. 3, 2, 1. Princeton launched himself through the 0G environment with practiced ease, his 4 limbs perfect for maneuvering between asteroids. He spotted Bralina immediately. She was moving slowly, clumsily, pulling herself along asteroid surfaces like a child learning to swim. This will be over in seconds. He chittered to himself. He calculated his approach vector, coiled his powerful limbs, and launched directly at her. Bralina moved, not away, toward him. Princeton's antennae registered confusion half a second before she grabbed his lead claw with both hands. She used his own momentum, twisting in a way that should have been impossible, redirecting his velocity. He slammed into an asteroid at full force. His carapace cracked. Pain exploded through Princeton's nervous system, a sensation he'd rarely experienced. He pushed off the asteroid, disoriented, searching for Bralina. she was already behind him. This time, she kicked off an asteroid fragment, her trajectory intersecting with his. Princeton tried to grab her, but she was rotating, moving in 3 dimensions in a way that made no sense. Her hand caught the broken edge of his carapace and twisted. More pain. Princeton attempted to flee. But zero-G combat wasn't about strength, it was about physics, momentum, and spatial awareness. And Browna moved like someone who understood Newton's laws in her bones. Because she did. She'd grown up on a death world with crushing gravity, where every child learned to calculate fall trajectories before they learned algebra, where survival meant understanding force and momentum with life-or-death precision. Princeton's species had evolved in gentle low-G environments. They'd never had to fight gravity itself every single day of their lives. Browna caught him again, this time locking her legs around his thorax. She found the neural cluster at the base of his carapace. Every species' anatomy was taught in first-year biology and pressed. Princeton's body went rigid. The paralysis would last only a few minutes, but in combat, that was forever. Simulation complete. The computer announced. Victory, Browna Chen, human, Earth. The viewing room erupted. Princeton's name did indeed spread across the galaxy, but not how he'd imagined. He became the cautionary tale whispered in academy corridors. The noble who'd underestimated a death worlder and paid the price. Browna never mentioned the incident again. She didn't need to. Applications from death world species to the academy increased by 300% the following cycle. And Princeton, he kept his word. The next day, in front of the entire student body, he apologized to every death world species student he could find. But the lesson learned went deeper than apologies. The galaxy had been reminded of something it had forgotten. Humans didn't earn the right to join galactic civilization by being the strongest, or the smartest, or the most advanced. They'd earn it by surviving on a world that tried to kill them every single day and learning to turn that survival into strength. Princeton never mocked a death worlder again.